A 24-year-old accused of posing as a high schooler in Perrysburg. Oh, this is Anthony Labrador. He's facing felony forgery charges. Labrador was living with two adult legal guardians and had enrolled last year as a 16-year-old. We're told the guardians recently contacted the school to say they received some information that he was not a child.
Being 16 is hard enough. You got all these hormones raging, you got acne, you got the stress of applying to colleges. The last thing you need is a 24-year-old Venezuelan man with chest hair and a fucking mortgage trying to steal your girlfriend in algebra class. Listen, I don't blame the guy. High school, it's pretty ideal. You get cheap lunch, free air conditioning. There's no expectations to have a job. All you gotta do is hop on a school bus every day and pretty much the rest of your life is taken care of. But how does somebody get to the point where they've fooled a high school into thinking they're 16 only to eventually be outed as a 24-year-old? How did this happen? Well, it started in November of 2023 when Anthony Labrador contacted the school claiming to be trafficked from Venezuela and now living in Perrysburg. He said he was 16 at the time and hoping to be enrolled in the school district. He claimed his birthday was December 2nd, 2007, and in January of 2024, he provided what he claimed to be a Venezuelan birth certificate, and he started attending the school. Police reports said a local family was contacted about Labrador while he was completing the enrollment process, as they had adopted children and housed exchange students in the past. They agreed to help Labrador, and he moved into their home in March of 2024. 2 months later, the family was granted temporary guardianship over Labrador, and in November of 2024, they were granted permanent guardianship. They helped him get a social security number and an Ohio driver's license. So this family's going out of the way, getting him all of his documents, unknowingly housing a 24-year-old man when they think it's a fucking 16-year-old. They're like, oh yeah, he likes smoking Marlboro Reds for some reason. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, sometimes he complains about lower back pain as well. And he tries to bang our 30-year-old maids. But he's a good kid. He's a great kid. He also played on the junior varsity soccer team and the swim team, according to school officials. You're going to go back to high school as a 24-year-old man with muscle mass, dad strength, bone density that any 16-year-old would fucking wish for, and you can't even make varsity? Do you think he went back just to get a varsity jacket and he just failed? He couldn't. He got stuck on JV again? Imagine how bad you have to be. Being a 24-year-old competing against 16-year-olds is the equivalent of being on fucking anabolic steroids, fucking tren. And the way he got caught is absolutely fucking insane. Perrysburg police said on May 14th, 2025, the mother of Labrador's child reached out to his now legal guardian to disclose he was actually a 24-year-old father. She sent the guardians photos and documents, including an Ohio license under Anthony Emmanuel Labrador Sierra, with a birthday of March 27, 2001. She also included a social security card with a note that said valid for work only with DHS authorization. So this guy was living in a fucking fantasy world. He's playing JV sports, trying to be fucking prom king, going to high school parties. He's got a whole ass kid at home and a baby mama. They probably saw him riding bikes to the gas station with his 16-year-old friends that don't have driver's licenses, and he's buying backwoods for his underage friends with her fucking child support money. So after the guardians find out from the baby mama that Labrador is actually a father, they contacted the school district and they notified them. They're like, hey, Labrador is not a minor, he's a grown-ass man. So the next day, the school administrators, they met with Labrador and they confronted him about the allegations. And Labrador denied these allegations. He says the birth certificate, it's real, it's correct. You got it all wrong. And that family must feel fucking violated because they think they're taking in a 16-year-old kid down on his luck, needs education, right? They see him looking in the pantry, you know, eating some fruit roll-ups and some lunchly. They're like, oh, that kid's cute. He's going to be something someday. And then you find out, wait a second, he's 24. And then you start looking at the same scenario. You're like, wait a second, there's a grown-ass man in my pantry eating fucking lunchly. That's an issue. Why is this guy here? Is he a fucking pedophile? Why is he enrolling in high school? The whole situation gets flipped on its head. And the interesting thing about this is he gets kicked out of the house. Okay, obviously that family is like, hey, you're not who you said you were. You can't live here anymore. And when the judge asks Labrador, he's like, hey, where are you going to live once you're kicked out? And he says he's going to live with his baby mama. But he's also trying to maintain that he's actually 16 and that he's not faking his identity. So he's trying to have his cake and eat it too. He's like, hey, I'll live with my baby mama. But also, this is all a lie. This is not my baby mama, okay? But if she was, for the sake of this legal battle, I'm going to live with her. But she's not my baby mama. I'm going to live with her anyway. This random woman who's trying to ruin my life. And I'm not going to speculate, but it is to be noted that the police found some questionable material at the home where he was staying. So I guess you could use your imagination on what you think that might have been. A judge set a bond at $50,000. And if he were to post bond, he would have to wear an ankle monitor and stay 2 miles away from the school and the household where he was staying. But he also has an immigration detainer, which is basically just a request from ICE that asks the law enforcement agency, whoever's holding him, whatever jail, it asks them to hold him for a little bit extra long so that ICE officers can potentially take custody of him like in a controlled environment versus, you know, having to like track him down wherever the fuck he may be once he's released. Now, this situation is actually a lot more common than you think. This actually happens quite a bit. Obviously, this guy got all of his documents pretty swiftly. It seems like he knew what he was doing. It's probably part of some sort of network where he's taught how to do this stuff. But the first time I ever learned about somebody lying about their age and getting caught in a similar fashion was this baseball player who I used to like a lot growing up. His name was Fausto Carmona. And he lied about his age, saying he was 3 years younger than he actually was. And the reason he did this was to make himself look like he had more potential, right? Because if you're 16 years old throwing 90 miles an hour, you have a lot more potential than a guy who's 19 years old throwing 90 miles an hour. So you can land a bigger contract because they figure, you know, you're going to grow into your body a little bit more. You're going to have to be throwing harder, thus being more valuable. Eventually, they found out that this guy, Fausto Carmona, was lying. His real name was Roberto Hernandez Heredia, and he was 3 years older than he was claiming to be. And he ultimately fooled the MLB, and he was suspended for identity fraud. But if you're in high school and some dude's beating your ass in your favorite sport, maybe check his fucking birth certificate. Because there's a chance that that guy is actually a grown-ass man just taking advantage of the fact that he's a literal dad with dad strength. But anyways, if you made it to the end, thank you guys so much for watching, and maybe I'll see you next time.